What's going on, you guys? Slim here with a new video today, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but Alistair topped in 2024 already. It's crazy. I had to cover it. Sadly, this deck has just not seen the light of day in so long. It is one of my favorite decks, you guys already know, and to see this deck actually come out of nowhere, and it actually made top 4 at the Utah Regional that took place last weekend. I had to cover it. I had to talk about it because I'm shocked. Like, I'm actually shocked. I think a lot of people forgot about this deck. I think a lot of people kind of disregarded it. All the jokes, all the memes about normal summoning Alistair, well, it's still happening in 2024, so it's not going anywhere. And huge shout out to so I saw the name is Mariano Lopez on the regional report, and then he also goes by Milo, so shout out to you. I watched the live deck profile, which I'll link down below. This is just incredible. This is just so awesome to see this deck actually top in this pretty open format right now. Like, there are so many decks you can play, and I'm just super happy to see someone is still playing Alistair, still normal summoning Alistair, and still still innovating this deck. You guys already see innovating the deck to actually like find success in this format. And I really like this take. I think that this was super just kind of slept on. I think a lot of people forgot about this deck, like what it can accomplish, and you guys can see like a lot of the main reasons why the deck was successful. What I'm doing here today is I do want to go over the deck. I do want to share my own opinion on it and really just kind of highlight how this deck topped already in this, in 2024, and already topped in this pretty open format, because we really just have sadly not seen this deck. We have not seen Alistair and friends in super long, so it's awesome to see. So I'm gonna get into it. Hopefully you guys enjoy. We'll start with, of course, the main monster of the deck. You already know, 3 Slim, 3 Alistair the Invoker. You guys already know normal summon, get your invocation. You have the 3 meltdowns too. Now here's the thing that's really interesting. Milo mentioned that he always has played just 1 invocation, and this is something where most invoke players, myself included, have always usually stuck to 2. Main reason being is everyone knows, your normal Alistair, it gets Asher Imperm. The good invoke players always have the invocation. The crazy thing is I do see his reasoning for having just 1 copy is he doesn't want to draw it, and it makes sense. Invocation by itself really does nothing. You need Alistair to actually get the ball rolling, and it was actually crazy. Like, watching this would actually make me want to try it at 1 copy. I completely understand why you would want to have multiple copies, though. Luckily, the days of past where we would play Desires and you would have to play 3 copies, but to see him play only 1, I actually did see this before from, I believe, Luke Parks and some other players in the past, who, when Invoked was really popular, when we were playing it with Fusion Destiny and everything. So it actually does make sense, and it does make sense that he actually wanted to bring it over into the new format with just 1 copy, just to reduce the the amount of dead cards or bricks that you might draw. Sadly, Invocation can be a brick, like I mentioned, without Alistair, so it's pretty interesting, but everything else was pretty straightforward. If you even notice, he didn't play Terraforming, probably wasn't needed. He kept the deck a clean 40, so that was really interesting. I guess also plays, lesson to droll, like Terraforming into meltdown, they literally droll you pass, like it sucks. So very, very good call on that. So this is something I definitely would try going forward, just to see how the 1 copy plays out. And then, of course, I want to go next into the Dogmatika package. You just need 1 1 and 1 Ecclesia, 1 Fleur de Lis, 1 Maximus. I think this is where the deck really found a lot of success and really shines, is that all of this actually plays really well into the format. You can get some big bodies on the field like Fleur de Lis. You get the ball, you get the 500-point boost, and with actually all your monsters with an Alistair over a Makaba, it can be game by itself. So this was actually really good. Everyone remembers, making Makaba, getting Ecclesia, getting into your Fleur de Lis, summoning your Fleur de Lis, like being able to do that, or even Maximus, and just getting the ball rolling with other options was really cool. Puts game on board quite efficiently. So I really did like that, he stuck to the Invoked Dogmatika take of the deck. And then the newer part of the deck, to me at least, because the deck I haven't really seen it again played as much, but I do see that a lot of players have gone the route of the Bystials, playing 2 copies of Lebellion, and then 1 copy, of course, of Magnamite. You got the 1 Druis Worm and the 1 Baldrake. He said there was no reason to play Saronir, so that makes sense. These are just extra big bodies. Like, while these are already DD Crows, these are basically extra hand traps, and of course we'll get to the hand traps. The Bystials just add more force, more push. You can really just OTK your opponent. This deck is clearly going second deck. If you watch the profile again, which I have linked, he mentioned he was going second all day, which really has always been the strategy of Invoked, is that you just let your opponent build their board and you break their board the best way possible. Your hand traps help to mitigate that, and you're just able to do a lot of things with some of the board breakers he chose to play. And I really like the Bystials too, because even though we're in a pretty much, year of the fire with all the fire decks, you can still use these efficiently. These are still pretty good tools. If your opponent, links or goes into anything that's light or dark, being able to drop these down is really good, and you can use your own light and darks to summon them too, just to put extra body, extra pressure, and close out the game. So I really did like this approach. I think the Invoked Dogmatika with Bystials is a really good call. And then, of course, the highlights of the deck are the hand traps, and it's always been that way with Invoked. You either go 3 Ash, 3 Valor, 3 Nib, and 3 Imperm. I like this. This is just very, very good, general coverage. Pretty much punishes every deck of the format. I like that he included Valor in addition to Imperm. This is just really good against Rescue Ace, good against any decks that need their effects to go off. Yeah, it may play more into talents, but that really is the format, so you shouldn't be surprised by that at all. And then, of course, you've got, just other utility cards. Of course, one Call By because it's at 1. And of course, with the Bystials, I forgot to mention, he goes with the Branded Regain. This card is just crazy. He literally said it's the best card of the deck. Being able to recycle your cards, being able to special summon is just nuts. So these cards were just very, very solid for him just overall. So I liked it a lot. And then I think the thing that does stand out the most, and he did mention he just didn't have space. He only played 1 copy of Forbidden Droplet. I know that looks really weird. Most players would play 2 or 3. He played 1 just because of space issues. Again, I respect it for keeping the deck at 40. Possibly, maybe there was a way to include extra copies, but honestly, it got the job done for him. This would be probably one of the only changes if I were to play the deck. Maybe I would try to wait to fit a second copy. Maybe I wouldn't even play it at all. I feel like most of the board breakers he had were good. Most players would probably swap this for a second Invocation. It is what it is, but again, he found success with this. So this is a card that definitely really is good since Rise Hard is out of the format. Being able to still utilize this card, I think, is really good. So definitely consider possibly, still playing this or playing more copies. I think this was still a good call. Even as a one-of, you can definitely play more copies just to see it more, and then, just to go, again, going second to break the board. And then Prosperities, it was interesting. So the Prosperity says were actually the worst card in his deck. Basically, he said whenever he activated, he lost. Now, that is interesting because I think Prosperity has always been really solid in decks like this, but again, each player will have their own experience with it. I do like Prosperity personally. I think being able to dig to what you need is really important, especially if, Alistair gets stopped, or you don't see, for some reason you don't see Meltdown, or your way to your engine. Prosperity can help you get the extra cards you need, can also help you get into some of your board breakers to, start ripping apart the board and win the game. You could see extra hand traps with it, extra Bystials, extra body. So I think that it is a pretty solid card, but again, to each his own, what their experience is with the card. It is a budget card now, so you definitely could play it. Most of this deck, to be honest, is pretty budget. I would say probably the only card I think that really is expensive now, not even really expensive, but probably might cost a little bit, would be, of course, in the extra deck, but maybe these. But I mean, other than that, the deck is pretty budget friendly. And then lastly, the Super Polys. These really are the standout of everything. This card just helps to break every possible board. Every single Invoke monster is a Super Poly target, so this card is never dead. You can always use it, and this card is fantastic. I love the fact that he played this. I think this is such an amazing board breaker, and it plays so well in this particular type of deck. So I can see why he found so much success. Anytime you activate this, they can't respond. Literally, this is just incredible. So 3 copies of this, along with the 2 talents for extra board breaking. If the opponent plays hand traps into you, which they always will, or monster effects, you literally can just slap this down, and do what you need to do with it. Invoke loves to take cards, loves to draw extra cards. I mean, this card is just fantastic in the deck, and he kept it at a clean 40, and I really do like this approach. This is definitely something I would try going forward. Onto his side deck. 2 Pank again, strictly a going second card. This card is amazing. It came to 2. Hopefully it comes to 3. This will definitely be a staple. One of the best side deck cards ever printed. Then he has a lot of back row hate. 2 Cosmic. He's got the Feather Duster, the 1 copy of Lightning Storm, 3 Evenly. Mentioning in highlights how the Cosmic has a lot of good application against Fire King, good application against Runic, and then of course for Labyrinth or anything that plays a lot of back row, you have your main back row removal, and you've got the Evenlies can just sweep a whole board with Evenly. It's pretty crazy. D-Barrier is just solid against a Pearly or against any decks that, any type of fusion deck. This card will come up. But again, he mentioned that he didn't really side a lot of these in or really even saw them because he was never really going first. You see the going first cards being the D-Barriers, the Summon Limits, and the 1 copy of Tikaboo now that it's at 1. Obviously, Tikaboo can be played in this deck because you have all different types and can just lock out certain matchups. Same thing with Summon Limit. You're just trying to control and grind the game with the Invoked and the Bystials and everything. But again, he mentioned that he didn't really side these because he was never going first. So again, this is a very solid side deck strategy though, especially with this type of deck when you're wanting to go second. Most of the time, if you are forced to go first, this is just a really good card that can help you control the game. So I really like the side deck. I think it, you know, it covers pretty much all the bases you need it to. You have enough hand traps in the main, and then being able to side, you know, some floods as well as some cards just to break the board further is really important. So really solid side deck. And then lastly, we'll go into the extra deck. So the cards that he was sending off of the Nadir Servant and everything, which I forgot to mention, but yeah, you guys already know Nadir Servant with the Dogmatika cards. He had the Entis to pop, you know, the Garuras to draw, and then the one he just basically made it into a toolbox of the invoked monsters. Just one Agodius, one Makaba, one Purgatrio, and the one Raijin. Now you guys are probably wondering, how is he summoning Raijin? There's no wins here. Well, Droll is a card. Opponents will put Droll in against this, and if it does come up, you literally can use their Droll to make Raijin. Raijin is a Book of Moon, quick effect Book of Moon, super solid. Like this card a lot, so I'm glad he still included it, knowing that Droll would still be in the format, maybe not in the main deck, but mainly in the side deck. Then the super poly targets, of course, he's got the Mud Dragon, the Starving Venom. These are just really solid, of course, just, you know, just being able to break every board, along with his other fusions. So I really like this approach. Again, all the invoked monsters, all the next fusions in here are basically super poly targets, so it's just very solid. Just how well the Invoked deck actually plays, is actually able to play the super polys. And then of course Titaniclad, that's to, you know, add your Fleur de Lis or add what you need in the end phase if you are going to send it. And then you got the one Chaos Angel, so you can't actually make this in this deck, and this card is really solid. It's the only synchro, and you know, it might randomly come up, but this card is insane. There's a reason why it hasn't been reprinted yet. So just a very solid card in general, just can help clear, you know, clear a problematic card, can make it really hard for your opponent to play. So I like that he still included this, along with, of course, basically these are the new Brothers of Destruction, or whatever you want to call it. You got the Typhon and the Little Knight. You unfortunately do need Little Knight. This card is crazy. It's when I said we were getting to the extra deck, it's not super budget friendly as far as this goes, you know, needing the Chaos Angel and the Little Knight. But if you already have these, you know, getting the Invoked Core is pretty simple, and everything else thanks to Rarity Collection. But yeah, these two cards are probably the only thing that are really going to cost, but they are just really good investments for the deck, and just overall Yu-Gi-Oh in general right now. These are cards, you know, these three cards are basically cards you just need because they're just good utility cards in pretty much any deck. And then lastly, you've still got the All Mirage and the Secure Gardener, because of course, you normal Alistair, link it off, going into All Mirage, going to Secure Gardener, and you're able to activate your invocation and get things rolling from there and get Makaba on the board. But that's all I got for today. I'm super excited to see this deck. I think this deck really took a lot of people by surprise. I think a lot of people forgot about normal summon Alistair, and I think this deck is well positioned. It's definitely a sleeper deck. It's a deck that you can pick up and try out in the format, and I'm super excited to try it myself, as well as to see what other players will do and further innovate the deck as we go forward. But that's all I got for today. Let me know your thoughts in the description below. Please go check out the live deck profile. There was a bunch of great information there, and you can definitely learn a lot if you haven't picked up this deck in a while like myself, or it's something that you're looking forward to playing in the format. You can definitely innovate it, you know, as the format continues to shape. But hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you for watching.